If you do a search on Huawei P30 Pro reviews, there are so many on YouTube right now. Everybody and their mother has already reviewed it. But what about this? This is the Huawei P30. It's anything but mid-range. I would actually call this a flagship in its own right. Running the HiSilicon Kirin 980 chipset, Huawei's flagship chipset here for 2019. It's also got that gorgeous OLED display, excellent battery life, and a gorgeous breathing crystal design. That's right, we're gonna take a look at it now. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my unboxing and review of the Huawei P30. Coming up. You can pick up the Huawei P30, the international variant, for $598 from Amazon. I'll put my affiliate link below in the description of this video. If you do purchase through my link, of course, I will get a small commission, and every little penny certainly helps out this channel, so I thank you in advance. Now, before we get to the unboxing, here's a quick rundown of the specs. What you're looking at is a 6.1-inch OLED display. It's got a 19.5:9 aspect ratio. It's also a high-resolution display. We'll go over that in just a little bit. It's running Android 9 Pie with the EMUI 9.1 skin. Now, it's powered by the HiSilicon Kirin 980, Huawei's flagship processor, and it also has 6 GB of RAM with 128 GB of onboard storage, which is expandable via the nano memory card slot. It has Leica branded triple camera setup on the back. The cameras on this thing are really good. We'll check that out in just a little bit. It's got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, and NFC. And it has a 3650 milliamp hour battery, and it also supports fast charging. It's 22.5 watts. But that's enough with the specs. Let's find out what you get inside the box. Let's open it up. Lifting the lid, you're greeted by the unit itself. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, you also get your SIM ejector tool, a clear case. Love the fact that they do include that in this box. And you get some documentation and warranty information as well. You get your Huawei Supercharge adapter and, of course, USB-C cable. And they throw in a really nice pair of earbuds. And yes, there is a headphone jack. Nice. Now, holding the unit for the first time, it feels very premium, feels very high-end, and I love the breathing crystal color. It not only looks good, but it also changes color depending on how the light hits it. That's a cool effect, and I think it looks fantastic. I love the gorgeous glass and metal design, the red accent on the power button, and the metal buttons are really good to the touch. Nice. And for those wondering, here it is with the clear case on. I love the fact they do include that at no additional cost. That's a nice touch. Now, there are other colors available, but this breathing crystal is absolutely brilliant, and when that light hits it just the right way, it gives off such a unique look. I absolutely love it. And it has a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, making it good for one-handed use. Nice. And yes, it does have a notch, teardrop style. This is the style I prefer. If you're going to have a notch, this is the one to use. And of course, it has those slim bezels, 85.8% screen-to-body ratio. This gives off a modern look. Now let's talk about the display, because it is excellent, and this year Huawei decided to put the OLED display even in the non-Pro model, and I like that. Now with an OLED display, of course, you get those really deep blacks, the very vibrant colors, and this is no exception. It's a 6.1-inch OLED display, a 19.5:9 aspect ratio with a Full HD Plus resolution of 2340 by 1080, and for those keeping score, that's 422 pixels per inch. And it's a very bright display on auto mode, 635 nits, making this good for both indoor and outdoor use. And it has level 1 security on Widevine. That means you can watch all your Netflix movies in HD, and that's always great. And it's also an HDR10 display, so that means you're going to get that excellent dynamic range when watching your movies on this, making this a great multimedia experience. And to me, Huawei's hit a home run with this display. Great job. The Huawei P30 runs Android 9 Pie right out of the box, and in fact I got a quick update as soon as I unboxed this thing, which is always good to see. And it also has the EMUI 9.1. Now, I've stated in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of EMUI. I think there are better skins out there. This one seems to have a lot going on, just like the other versions of EMUI, and I'm not the biggest fan, so I just want to get that out of the way. The Huawei P30 has an in-screen fingerprint scanner, and as far as those kinds of scanners go, this is actually pretty good. Setup was easy and registered my finger pretty much every time I use it. It's not going to be as fast as a dedicated fingerprint scanner, a physical fingerprint scanner we've seen in other Huawei devices in the past, but as far as this one is concerned, it worked well, got the job done. And it also has Face Unlock. You have to recognize your face, and once it does that, you can use it to log in. It worked pretty well, pretty fast. Not the most secure in the world, of course, but then again, this is pretty good when you want to get into your device pretty quickly. The Huawei P30 has the HiSilicon Kirin 980 processor. It's a flagship processor and it performs as such. As you can see from these benchmarks, it did very well. Now there's a regular mode and of course there's the performance mode. With that performance mode, you get some extra boost in performance, and that's great if you want to do some gaming, some high-end multitasking on this, and everything worked really well. This is an excellent chipset, a 7nm chipset, and it works really great. The Huawei P30 has the EMUI 9's GPU Turbo 2.0, which is supported by 6 games in total right now: PUBG Mobile, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, NBA 2K18 Rules of Survival, Vainglory, and Arena of Valor. It allows these games to run at a very smooth 60 frames per second, and the gaming experience is definitely enhanced by it. I'm glad they included it on this P30 and not only the P30 Pro. Nice. And as I mentioned, the performance mode definitely gives it a nice speed boost as well. In combination with that GPU turbo boost, this thing is a real nice gaming machine. Now when it comes to the cameras, you won't be disappointed. In fact, the Huawei P30 has some excellent cameras, both the front-facing camera as well as the triple camera setup on the back. Now the triple camera setup on the back, of course, are Leica branded. You get a 40 megapixel f1.8, that's the equivalent of a 27mm. You get a 16 megapixel f2.2, which is the equivalent of a 17mm ultra-wide lens, and then you get an 8 megapixel f2.4 80mm lens, which is a telephoto lens. It's got 3 times optical zoom. It's got a lot of things that you'd want on this. You've got OIS, you've got really good HDR, you've got 4K video, 30 frames per second. This thing really rocks. Now here it is with the 1x optical zoom, and then here you can see 3x, and here's 5x, and here's ultra wide. All excellent images in my opinion. Good job, Huawei. Now, as you can see, these are very sharp photos. I'm very impressed, especially in good lighting conditions as I had here. Really good sunset photos as well. I thought it took really excellent panoramic shots. Take a look at this one. Very detailed, very sharp, very good. I thought it did a really nice job with true to life colors, really looking good. And I thought the monochrome mode worked very well. Take a look at some of these black and white photos. I thought they came out really good, very sharp, high-end images. Now, of course, the P30 has the HiSilicon Kirin 980, which has the NPU, or the Neural Processing Unit, which allows the camera to use artificial intelligence to figure out the scene and to give you the appropriate and best settings for that shot. So if you have a sunset shot, if you're taking a picture of a vehicle or a car, it recognizes it. If it takes a picture of a person, it adjusts the settings accordingly. And I thought it worked really excellent. Now when it comes to nighttime photography, I think I would stick with the photo mode, the standard photo mode that is, rather than the night mode. I thought the night mode added some light, but it added a greenish hue to it. I wasn't crazy about the overall image. Standard photo mode in low light photography with the P30 did a good job in my opinion. And keep in mind, these were near pitch black circumstances. And I thought these sunset photos were really nice. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of these rear-facing Leica branded cameras? I think they're excellent. So this is the 4K video, 30 frames per second. This is the stock or the default camera app on the Huawei P30. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It's not quite sunset yet. That'll be in less than an hour. But pretty good video quality overall. So this is at sunset here on the Pacific Coast time in Nevada, Las Vegas. And of course, you could do super slow motion video. I thought it was okay. The quality isn't the best, but I thought if you want really slow motion video effect, this definitely can get the job done. So this is the front-facing camera on the Huawei P30. I'm actually pretty impressed with the cameras overall. It's at 1080p, 30 frames per second. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. The Huawei P30 sports a 3650 milliamp hour battery, and I have to say battery life on it is excellent, as you can see from the different tests that I ran. Most specifically, the web surfing test did 13 hours and 44 minutes, and when you compare it to some of its competition, it definitely held its own. It was excellent. It did a very good job. You'll definitely get all-day battery life with this, of course, depending on what you do with this device, maybe even 2 days between charges. But of course, if you do need to plug in, they do supply you with a Huawei Supercharge adapter. It charges at 22.5 watts, and it gives you 65% in 30 minutes, and a full charge in a very fast 1 hour and 14 minutes. Excellent job in that front. But unfortunately, there's no wireless charging as you'd get with the Huawei P30 Pro. Now, I think that's one of the reasons the way they're going to differentiate between the Pro and the non-Pro model. They had to do something, and to justify the big price difference, they didn't include it with this device. Now, having said that, kind of wish it did have the wireless charging, but because it has such fast charging, it wasn't a deal breaker by any stretch. And of course, it begs the question, well, what's the big difference between the P30 Pro and the P30? After all, it does have about a $400 price difference, and that's pretty significant. Now, of course, with the P30 Pro, you will get a bigger screen at 6.47 inches as opposed to the 6.1 you do get with the P30, but they both have OLED displays. Now, keep that in mind. You also get a curved OLED with the P30 Pro. Now, you do get a bigger battery with the P30 Pro, but it's not that much bigger to justify the big price difference. But they do give you wireless charging, and you do get reverse wireless charging, which to me is still a bit gimmicky. And of course, you get the 5x optical zoom as opposed to the 3x optical zoom on the cameras, but to me, the cameras on the P30 are excellent in its own right. Again, you're saving $400. That's pretty significant. And of course, the Huawei P30 Pro has an IP68 rating, making it dust and water resistant up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes, whereas the P30 is only an IP53 rating, much less water resistant, much less dust resistant. So keep that in mind. Now, some people actually prefer the 6.1-inch display as opposed to the larger display you'd get with the P30 Pro. And if you can live without the wireless charging and the water-resistant IP68 rating, then you might want to look at the P30 because, again, I can't stress this enough, this is $400 less than its bigger brother. The Huawei P30 does have a headphone jack, which is always great to see nowadays here in 2019. Not something we always get. In fact, it's becoming more of a rarity. And the sound is good when you plug in your wired headphones. Everything sounded really good. Now, as far as the speakers are concerned, well, there's only one speaker. It's a mono speaker, and it's located on the bottom. Unfortunately, there's no dual speakers like you'd get with the P30 Pro. Now, having said that, it does get pretty loud, and the sound is pretty decent. Let's give it a listen. So to wrap it all up, can I recommend the Huawei P30? Absolutely. I like its stunning display. I like its price. Love its gorgeous glass and metal design with that breathing crystal color. Excellent cameras, flagship grade performance, and of course its excellent battery life, all at a great price. But of course, it's not perfect. There's no proper dust and water resistance, no stereo speakers. Those nano memory cards are kind of hard to find. No 4K 60 frames per second video recording, and of course no wireless charging. None of these are real deal breakers for me personally. I'm going to give it a score of 93%, making the Huawei P30 my editor's choice for the mid-range smartphone, making it worth your money. So what do you think about the Huawei P30? I actually think this is such a good value. At $599, you want to maybe give hesitation to buying the P30 Pro, and for a couple of good reasons. Number one, it's got that gorgeous design with that breathing crystal color, which I absolutely love. It's running the HiSilicon Kirin 980, Huawei's flagship processor. It's got excellent battery life. It's got a gorgeous 6.1-inch OLED display. It's got excellent cameras, definitely good in low light performance. Everything you'd want in a flagship smartphone is here. The only things missing, of course, are wireless charging, reverse wireless charging, which to me is a bit gimmicky anyway, so I'm not really missing that. Now, I kind of wish it did have dual speakers. I kind of wish it did have an IP68 rating, but for $400 less than the P30 Pro, I think you're getting quite a bit. But I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. Love the breathing crystal design here. To me, this is one gorgeous looking smartphone. And of course, depending on the way the light hits it, gives you a different look. That to me is a nice effect. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and of course my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMD Tech. See ya.